So today I am talking about, first of all, what matters to me and, presence, quality of life. So rushing to get to more rushing doesn't satisfy me. I find that I like to be able to fully experience and feel in the now. I like to do things properly and thoroughly, but this is like somewhere that I have to work on it because I don't want to half-ass it, as they say, and I don't want to delegate unless necessary. So there is room for mystery and predictions to balance with a humble openness. So predictions to say what's going to happen versus the mystery, which is like anything could happen, and a humble openness to be like basically to plan but not to be attached. So think about possessions, titles, labels, official things, or money, or jumping through hoops does not attract me. I like to be with what is on its terms without full control and authority, rather a shared sort of synergistic, symbiotic, interknowing. Really, it's even actually above knowing. And so I will share from, this idea sort of like dependence. Giving without expecting acknowledgement or even credit is a dependence on a false image because circuitry is necessary. So being humble is being able to look to others and look out for them, letting each be a representative of God who knows more and also a child of God, simultaneously who I know more than. Fault finding is a way we protect ourselves from disappointment and accountability and pressure to change to the new and changing circumstances, because it makes us believe our own temporary and limited judgments that exist because of who we were until now. So we don't have to face the unknown all alone. To resent the giver and insult and degrade the one who shares with us is to be expressing the desire to solve the problem, but the inability to apply leverage in an effective way. Manipulations and charm come from not realizing we become everything we hated, despised, scorned, scoffed at, and utilized for benefit by withholding our honest agenda so that we could pull out without losing anything, thinking we hold all the cards, that idea. Yet the one being resource for the consumer is the dependable one who chooses to be vulnerable by choice, more often than not, for the sake of the other, because of the security and not needing to, it's true security and not needing to protect oneself from potential loss by being a pretender or hiding so as not to be predictable or exposed, but rather can tolerate mutuality, interdependence, symbiosis, collaboration, a we connection. And the manipulator is the one who wants what the sharer has available, but if the charmer could produce it independently, then they wouldn't have to stick around trying to take for personal use instead of honoring and respecting the giver, the provision, the provider. When I think of dependence, it's often like I think of men as an adult instead of being dependent on parents. It's like dependent in romantic relationships. So dream man is the right one, is who I can share my life with, and it's worthy for him to let go of the fear of men. It's worthy for me, for him to in honor of him, to let go of the fear of men inheritance. Serving the dream man serves the source of love, creative light, and sees my strength, my will, restraint, my self-taming, and he earns money and supports me and communicates with me and faces his fears of the unknown and uncertainty and meets my needs and satisfies my desires. Jewish and brave and sees my gifts. Jewish faith. I don't mean Jewish like as a label. I mean of the Jewish faith. And brave and sees my gifts outweigh my defects, and I can let go of the guard up because of how good it feels to know him. And he inspires me to be motivated, productive, and he's honest with me, loyal and faithful and trustworthy, and he's accountable and responsible, but not in denial, unhealthy shame. And I want to share what a healthy partnership, even when anxious, is to recognize the other is not required to sacrifice their nature. It's both sharing the journey of being more and more the true nature. It's calming down before the fights escalate and choosing kindness, unconditional love and support, and peace and harmony at home. It is not adding fears or pressures to the other's perception of the future. It's making time for play and enjoyment together, whether you call it decompression or fun, and doing activities together like visiting the parks or museums or galleries, even casual, even free. No hypocrisy with cleaning, hygiene, health, resources, or spiritual work. Not blaming and accusing the other for fear, not fear, but including fear of human issues, control issues, allowing each other to go at their own pace and getting each other for their self the needed supports, whether it's therapy or meditation, or medication. Finding times to appreciate and be grateful for the companion, reconnecting regularly with the shared value, goal, and mission that brings the two together, practicing gentleness during challenges as a witness, not a critic, and apologizing, acknowledging mistakes, improving from them, becoming really a better person. And when we think of the child when it comes to dependence, the child needs trusting myself, the inner Torah, my inner truth, appreciation of my creation and beauty, clean and healthy around me, neat, living, orderly, not to be monitored, to get time alone and space, nature, adventures, trips, exploration. By the way, I'm saying my inner child is still with me, so like we could keep healing the inner child if we didn't get what we needed. Or satisfying the inner child. Predictability, knowing how to find the person, your person, your parent, your caregiver, the one who you're connected to, some level of power and value from having resources. So think about what was in survival, before we go into the child wounds, what was in survival mode? Outgrowing a want that brings issues, an identity attachment that pushes me off balance and makes poor decisions, and be out of control with my feelings and expressions. Feeling homeless and making a sacred little bubble with someone who feels like a mate, a partner, safe and secure. Not being seen, heard, understood, sets me up for like a warrior mentality, isolated, not achieving goals, not able to trust, being caught between options, and finally not knowing who to be with, feeling like there's no way to be accepted as I am without selling out. So before I go into the child wounds, I want to talk about giving up, God willing, completely giving up. And now some of these, because I wrote this in the past, I've already given up. Some of these I have not needed to give up because, they were taken. What was that? Ow. I felt like something bit me, but I think I just scratched a scab. Okay. Anyway, so what did I say? Oh, that it was taken away from me. Like, let's say there was someone that I had some level of control. Oh, like controlling people. Let's say there was someone I had control over. It was taken away. Like I lost my control over the person. So that could be an example, or it could be that I actually, stopped. I gave it up. Controlling people, trying to force or threaten or intimidate, denying affection, taking the living partner cohabiter for granted, making them feel worthless, useless, unwanted, putting interactions before taking proper care of myself, and any of the substances like weed, alcohol, tobacco. I would add like unhealthy foods. Now, childhood wounds. So some of these are things that I'm not currently working on. They're things that I already was wounded and I healed, and some of these are still with me. So not reassuring, comforting, de-escalating, reactive, not obedient, toys with me to get a reaction. This is from the other, that I was wounded, right? And remember, hurt people means that where we are wounded, we learned weapons, right? How to wound others. Or we may not have learned how to be healthy. We might still be carrying out that pattern. Embarrassing, exposes insecurities that hurts me when angry, screaming, lashing out, insulting, threatening, making tones and faces that make me feel hated, not chipping in for, not doing their part, whether it's food, household expenses. Oh, and then there's this idea like someone who's forbidden. So not being like permitted, which to me now in my current life, there's someone out there I felt attached to who was not circumcised. And so we couldn't touch, kiss, pleasure, or cuddle each other. I felt something was being deprived from me. Like I felt there was like a repeat of my childhood where I was being deprived. And think of the gel and the vessel, right? So like there's a matrix like cell of hard and soft, bending, not breaking, yielding, not popping, cushioning, not bursting, almost like think of like a blister idea, but also a sort of like a gel pack, like you could buy a gel or a gel mouse pad. It's something like gel. It's a cushioning. It's mobile. It's not stuck. It doesn't burst. And when we live with regrets, it's a chance to do better and trust the larger flow that electrically adapts to a changing individual in a changing world, dynamically with others. Think of this like gel matrix. It's kind of like it's kind of like electrically charged for us inside. Thinking of our fascia, they sort of have that. Fascia is not exactly muscles. It's sort of the like gel sort of fabric. Each one individually has to make peace inside between the parts, not to need a separate one, to be willing to be the other and swap back and then be everyone else, etc. And so on with each duality that comes up. And the last thing that I want to share is how in our lifestyle we learn to stay in our own lane, not force or put. This is about releasing the dependence, being healthy interdependent. So when we don't force or push others to follow our opinions or agree with us, or else there's a backlash. It's being patient, relating to others, and not also rushing to quick fix solutions, or not getting too stuck in the ways to grow, being able to ground in a shared reality. Basic needs are met, like sleep, eating, water. Not convincing that I'm right to avoid doing the work. It's like an agenda for the values. So better to be patient rather than blame someone than get away with it this time and blame them, Learning to be honest with ourselves and getting good guidance, role models, being of service, lowering consumption, and coping strategies for anxiety that are, or depression. So like you could call anxiety frustration, you could call depression despair. So healthy coping mechanisms. So I will stop there. And wish you a beautiful rest of your day and a beautiful week. All the best. Bye.